Hello everybody, my name is Chicken. This is a video of my Thomas Wooden Railway layout. This video is probably going to be really long, hopefully not as long as my shelf tour video. But we have a lot of stuff to see on this layout. It took me about a week to build. There's so many things to see, so let's just get started. I'm gonna stand up and give you a big overview of the layout first, and then I'll show you the whole thing in a little bit more detail. But this thing is pretty massive. I don't think I can even get all of it in one shot here. Okay. So I don't really know where to start, but I guess we'll just start at Knapford. So this Knapford is a combination of the regular deluxe Knapford, and then I added an extra interactive railway Knapford on the side. And since my last big layout, I've gotten a third roof, and I've put that on, so now it's complete. So I come up to this little yard area, and then it goes up to, you know, a 6-lane Henry's Tunnel. Most people usually put, if they have 2 Henry's Tunnels, they'll do like 1, 2. So I want to do something different and have every lane of Henry's Tunnel go into Knapford. And I think it turned out pretty cool. It's very straight, but I don't know. It's different. So, I don't know. We got 6 lines to choose from here. So let's go on Emily's line, I guess. There's Emily pulling, 5 old brown coaches, and it goes over the bridge, and then it goes around to where Murdoch is pulling a really long goods train, and it kind of circles around the docks a bit. So then it comes back to where Molly is, goes over where Winston is, goes down. There's Dustin, and then it comes into the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. So here at Sodor Search and Rescue Center, we got, all the main buildings. This right here is meant to be Flynn's off-road ramp, so you can drive around down here. We got Dalton Douglas pulling the breakdown train. There's a siding for Rocky. And yeah, let's go back this way. This comes into kind of like a industrial area. So we got Neville there with some chocolate, Neil with some Christmas cars, and there's Douglas, who is pulling the breakdown train. Off to the side here we have like a little field with the airfield. There's Harold and Tiger Moth. There's Derek and a siding back there. So this line goes back under the Sodor Bay Bridge, and it goes into Brenham Docks. So here at Brenham Docks we got 4 crankies and boats all over the place. We got 3 lanes of track, a bunch of switches, just a bunch of engines, and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, and then there's Fergus back there at the cargo transfer crane or something. So let's go ahead and talk about the road, since I might forget. The road actually starts back there at Knapford. So there is a fire truck at the fire station, goes through the car wash, goes under the bridge, goes through the Hilltop Station Tunnel, through the cement works. There's Elizabeth at the crane, goes under the tool booth, through the scrapyard, goes up onto the Hilltop Station, goes over the mountain overpass, goes down. There's the transfer yard, and Butch goes over the level crossing, ambulance, and then you arrive at the hospital. Okay, so let's go back to Brenham Docks. So the line continues. It goes out underneath the Sodor Bay Bridge on the other side. And then you get brought to kind of a wharf area for Colin. I really like this area. It's a bit small, but I think it, serves its purpose. So you have Samson there with his fossils, and there's Fearless Freddy with some logs, and Colin, of course. So this over here is the narrow gauge railway, the start of it anyway. The line that Samson's on goes to a T-switch, and then it goes into Crovan's Gate Station, which is just an old-style Knapford station. But there's Madge with Proteus, Henry pulling the express, and Peter Sam with Ada, Jane, Mabel, and Cora. Okay, so narrow gauge have their own roundhouse. There's Duke, some more coaches. Let's just do the narrow gauge, at least part of it, since I can't get to all of it right here. Yeah, so it goes from this line at the turntable. It goes up. There's Duncan at the sawmill and dumping depot. And it goes down to where Reneus is at Rolf's Castle. That switch there leads back to the sawmill. And then right there is George and Sir Handel at the incline. So the incline is really big. It's, the biggest thing I've ever made. It goes up 5 ramps worth and just dead ends back there in the shelf where the, I put up some, so those 2 pieces there are meant to go into a spiral, but I broke up the spiral and I used it for scenery throughout the layout. Since I wanted to include those pieces, but I didn't have room for the actual spiral, so yeah. And then, so back from where Reneus is, go through Rolf's Castle. There's Mighty Mac with a coach, and that's about as much as I can show off from this angle. So we'll come back to the narrow gauge layout here in a bit. Okay, try not to fall. Okay, so if we go on Henry's line here, goes through, and then we arrive at Great Waterton. So there's Flora in her tram. There's Stanley with some gold cars. There's Glennock Switch Tower. There's the actual Great Waterton station. There's some more pieces of the spiral that I used, again just for some decoration. Flora's line curves around the table leg and then goes up the mine shaft and then into Morgan's mine where it just dead ends in a field. Stanley's line goes to a switch, and there is Wilbert in a siding with some log cars. And then Stanley's line goes through the Sudbury switch tower and goes underneath the table, joins up with another track, and it continues beyond the table over there. So we'll have to come back to that part as well. Okay. So back at Knapford, Gordon's line goes through the tunnel there, and also it connects with that track that we were just at. So we'll come back to that as well. So then, Hero and Spencer's line, they go up and they combine, and there's Boca with a long freight train. That line goes back to the docks, but it also switches off, goes past the aquarium, and then goes under the table and goes through Henry's tunnel. And then it brings you out to kind of the Tidmouth area. But first, this line goes back to where Neville is over there. So here at Tidmouth, we got the sawmill. There is Douglas pulling the mail and Toad. There's Tidmouth Station, Strutmass Car, Station Master's house, the Tidmouth ticket booth, all that stuff. We have Tidmouth Sheds here, where we have Sam, Big City Engine, and Hank. So that line here goes into the coaling plant. There's Philip, who got himself stuck for some reason. I don't know. And then this line, there's a siding where Hector is. That line goes around the back of Knapford and leads back into those 2-3 lines there. And then this line goes off to a switch where Whiff and Scruff are at the recycling center. Okay. So much to see. I gotta pick where we're gonna go next. Let's just keep going back here. So this line here goes into Wellsworth Station, where Edward and Diesel are. And those just dead end in sheds because I didn't have any room for it to go anywhere else. But then these two lines coming out the back of Knapford go to the transfer table. And they bring you into kind of a steamworks, diesel works area. So here we have the deluxe Tidmouth Sheds, and we have 5 diesels in there, and these 2 sheds over here with both versions of Diesel 199. I like to think that one of them is bare, still painted blue, and then the line that the updated Diesel 199 is goes through and connects to the fire station. Okay. Ooh, this part is confusing. Okay. So that line back there goes to where Bill and Ben are in a shed. And then this line here goes to where Paxton is. And this brings you into the quarry. I'm really proud of how this quarry turned out. I really, really like it. We used the Rheneas and the roller coaster spiral for more decoration back here. And just to fill in some more spots. I think it looks really good. So yeah, the line that Paxton's on is standard gauge, and it goes past like a hopper there, curves around. This part's really tight, but this line is the line that goes underneath the table to the V switch, with the 2 lines that went under there that we saw earlier. So then that line back there is narrow gauge that we saw earlier. So let's continue. Let's go up the hill here. It goes around this kind of the elevated part of the track. There's Luke and Merrick. So this line here goes down, curves around to where Scarlowy is with the rock crusher cars, goes through a tunnel. There's Rusty with the breakdown crane and a narrow gauge brake van. And then it goes around here to where Bertram is, pulling the puppet show cargo car, and then goes back to where Mighty Mac is. Okay. So then the line that Luke is on goes down, it goes over a crossing, and then it goes into the steamworks where Victor and Mavis are. So this little circle here is dual gauge, I guess. Or it's just narrow gauge. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, so Mavis is pulling some Sodor China clay cars. There's the second building there. And then that just goes back to the turntable. Okay. So then Mavis's line comes out. I don't know where to step back here. Hold on. Okay. So Mavis's line back there goes underneath the castle, the castle ramp thing, and that goes through the castle and then out to where the entrance of Olstead Castle is. This is I'm not very happy with how Olstead turned out. I really wanted to use it, but there really wasn't a good place to use it. So I just kind of had to throw it down and work it in last second. But I think it still looks decent. Don't ask how Millie got up there. She's, narrow gauge layout doesn't really connect there, but she's there. Don't worry about it. And then there's Stephen with some red coaches. So this line that we were still talking about goes out. There's Logan at the Colin plant. Goes underneath this like double-decker tunnel. And then this brings you back to the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. Okay. So let's go back to Olstead and let's talk about Stephen's Line. So after you go up the main gate, go down Stephen's Line. It goes behind the layout right there where the door is. There's Skiff. And then this brings you into Tidmouth Halt. But it's also kind of the station for the Arsdale Railway. So this is the first time that I'm having an Arsdale Railway on my layout, and I'm very happy about it. So I'm glad I was able to finally include it, even if it is very, very small. So behind where Duck and Oliver are at the station, there's Donald with some ballast trucks underneath the loading ramp where Mike is. So that line there is for the Arsdale Railway. And that line curves around where Frank is with the barrel loader, or a barrel car, sorry. And there's a little yard right there with some sheds for Jock and Rex. And then their line goes up over the Skull Mountain thing, Pirate Cove, whatever it's called. There's Bert with some Arsdale coaches on the viaduct. Goes through the clock tower, and then there's a little town down there with some pack members. It goes down the pirate ship, curves around, goes through 2 tunnels, and then back to where Frank is, at the barrel loader. So that's the whole Arsdale Railway. It's very, very small. I can fit it all into this one shot right here, but it's okay. It does its job. Okay, so coming out of Duck and Oliver's line, comes to like another little yard. There's a shed for Ryan and Daisy. And then there's also a siding where the Sodor Railway repair is at the ice cream factory. The pack members are also spread throughout here. There's Bulgy as well. So Duck and Oliver's line comes out here where Hugo is at the Sodor Airport. I've wanted to do an airport design like this for a long time, but I've just never had enough room on my layout. So I'm glad I was finally able to include it. But yeah, so there's Hugo. Then you go up onto the second level of this double-decker tunnel. And then there is Arthur pulling a goods train. And then there's a switch there where James is pulling 3 Knapford Express coaches, goes over the old iron bridge, curves around, and then goes back down into Knapford Station. Okay. We're getting close to being done. So, let's go back here to this kind of yard area. So the 2 tracks that switch, the one of the tracks that Neil is on, and that switch right there, go through the rumbling bridge, and then they start to go up. And they go up, and they go up. All the way up until you reach the top of this train table. So this was the first part of the layout that I wanted to build. I wanted to use all the farm items that I could, so that way the bottom part of the layout could be as industrial as possible. So yeah. We used the Start Your Engines race set to get up here, and there's Connor and Caitlin about to go racing. It brings you up to the Sudbury Switch Tower, or Sudbury Swing Bridge. And yeah, brings you up to just the farm mountain, I guess. So there's a double wide mountain tunnel. Sorry, there's Muffle Mountain right there. So the two tracks, it's mostly symmetrical, as you can see. We have a bunch of Thomas's friends up here. So we got Billy, I guess he's his friend. Toby, Charlie, also not really sure if he's his friend. Rosie pulling the milk, Stephanie, and Busy Bee James with the honey car. So yeah, just a bunch of different farm destinations, and it's just very, very compact. But I really like how this area turned out. We got like a little carousel, Man in the Hills, even though that's technically narrow gauge. Yeah, there's Shining Time Station as well. Bunch of different locations and farm buildings. So yeah. So you might think that that's the end of the layout, but it's actually not. There's still one more area that I haven't shown off. So if we come back over here to the Sodor Search and Rescue Center. If you're familiar with Thomas and Friends, you'll know that at this location there is a tunnel that leads to Misty Island. I don't have a tunnel, but I do have a drawbridge. And that drawbridge leads to Misty Island. This was the last part of the layout that I built because I really didn't want to. But I figured that I should still include it. It's all the way out here. It's not good. Things are going wrong over here. All the engines have, crashed. And Diesel 10 is ordering Splatter and Dodge to burn down the island with all the fuel. Oh yeah, there's track missing, there's zip lines, trees everywhere. It's just chaos over here. So yeah, I had fun building that part though. It's time for Misty Island to be destroyed since it's such a bad movie. But anyway, that's the layout. I finally finished it. One more thing that I think I'd like to show you. If you've seen my shelf tour, room tour video, you'll know how much track I have. Well, this is how much track I still have. Yeah, I used almost all of my short curves. There's hardly any left in there. I have very few types of switches left. That bucket was full. And I don't think I have any more 2-inch pieces of track. So yeah, a lot of stuff went into this layout, but I don't think I could really be happier with it. I am very, very proud of this layout. This is probably going to be the last big layout that I make as well. I have plans for one more table layout themed around Olstead Castle. I just kind of want to see that as a proof of concept, but this is probably going to be the last layout video from me besides that one. So yeah, I'd like to say thank you for all the support you've given me on all my previous layouts and all the videos that I've made. It really, really means a lot to me. So thank you so very much. My name is Chicken. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.